Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome everybody. I believe you know about Muslim Aid, so I don't need to actually give a brief introduction about Muslim Aid. One of the fundamental principle of Muslim Aid is whenever there is any emergency, of course, we try to get there in the first place and within 12 hours of any emergency to help our people. And in many emergencies, we manage to go there within an hour, some places even before, especially in the emergency like cyclone, like any other big emergencies where there is opportunity to get preparation. And since Muslim Aid is an organization which is based on the Islamic humanitarian principle, we always try to keep with people, especially the affected people, and we try to build up relationship with them as their friend, as their brother, as their neighbor, and as their friend in need. So, unlike many organizations, we don't bother whether we are getting publicity or thing, but we bother whether we are able to bring change in people's life. And this is why always we try to actually address the root causes of any emergencies. So from that point of view, actually, after emergency, we don't disappear. We help people in the time of emergency, in the time of need. And after emergency, we try to bring their normal life back. This is why, and we are really grateful to you. You are from very beginning of Pakistan disaster. You are with us, you help us to take us to the people who are really our backbone, who donate for Muslim Aid to help people. This is why we feel it is our responsibility that we should let you know what is the progress on the ground. And on emergency phase, we gave you, through press conference, through press release, we gave you a whole picture what we have done during the emergency period. And when emergency finished, we are now conducting rehabilitation program. As I mentioned, as a matter of principle, we endeavor to bring back people's normal life. That means we have been trying to bring back their life which they had before this disaster. This is why, alhamdulillah, after emergency phase, we have taken a long-term rehabilitation program whereabout we are providing shelter support, we are providing health care, we are providing water and sanitation support, we are providing education support, we are providing livelihood program, and at the same time, we are trying to bring and establish and develop a congenial, wonderful environment so that people live with happiness. So, as part of this, we have been actually building shelters with all these supports in 5 areas, like in Mianwali, in Rajanpur, in Taluka Mehar, and in Charsadda, and in Thatta. So our secretary, because our board of trustees always, on behalf of the donor, they are supervising us, they are guiding us, they are monitoring us, and they are making sure we are utilizing people's money up to their expectation. So this is why our trustees not only advise us, not only give us direction in the meeting, they take the trouble to go to the field on the ground to see whether we are delivering our program properly. You know, Brother Tanjim Wasti, in his old age, he needs actually enough rest now, but he was restless because we got few million pounds of people's donation. So he told us that, no, I want to make sure that I have seen with my eyes, and then I want to tell people what Muslim Aid have done with their money. So, inshallah, he'll give you a actually real picture. He went to Pakistan, he spent few weeks, and he'll give a real picture what Muslim Aid has been doing there since rehabilitation stage started. So this is why we are giving you trouble today. I hope you are happy to listen to Brother Tanjim Wasti. He's very friendly to you all of us, alhamdulillah. So we'll give a real picture, inshallah. Thank you very much for coming.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. اسٹاف سے جو مجھے انسٹرکشنز ملی ہیں وہ یہ کہ کیونکہ میڈیا موسٹلی پاکستان سے ہے اور میں اردو کے اندر بات بھی کر سکتا ہوں، اس لیے اگر آپ اردو میں کہیں تو وہ زیادہ بہتر ہوگا تاکہ وہ پاکستان کے اندر بھی اور یہاں بھی عام لوگوں کے لیے بہتر ہوگا، ان کے سمجھ میں بھی آئے گا. آئی ہوپ اٹ از رائٹ. جیسا کہ میرے بھائی نے ابھی کہا کہ یہ ٹرسٹیز کی بڑی بھاری ذمہ داری ہے کہ وہ میک شیور کریں کہ وہ ڈونیشنز جو برطانیہ کی کمیونٹی یا آل اوور دی ورلڈ دے رہی ہے، بیسیکلی ہماری ذمہ داری یہ ہے کہ وہ پاکستانی کمیونٹی یا دوسری کمیونٹی جو برطانیہ کی، کیونکہ یہ چیریٹی ہے، وہ جب پیسے دیتی ہے، کوئی 5 پاؤنڈ، کوئی 10 پاؤنڈ، کوئی 100 پاؤنڈ، کوئی 5000 پاؤنڈ، تو ہمارا یہ فرض ہے کہ ہم ان کو بتائیں کہ آپ کی دی ہوئی یہ رقم کس طرح، کہاں اور کیسے خرچ ہوئی ہے، تاکہ مسلم ایڈ کی کریڈیبلٹی یہاں جو لوگ ہمیں فنڈز دیتے ہیں ان کے اندر برقرار رہے. اس لیے کہ آپ کو پتہ ہے کہ گزشتہ 15-20 سال کے اندر اتنی چیریٹیز کھل گئی ہیں کہ اس کے بارے میں صحیح طور پر اندازہ لگانا لوگوں کے لیے مشکل ہے کہ ان کا کام پاکستان کے اندر کہاں اور کیسے ہو رہا ہے. یہ ایک بڑی ذمہ داری ہے بحیثیت ٹرسٹی کے، بحیثیت اس لیے کہ سیکرٹری بورڈ آف ٹرسٹی جو ہے وہ الٹیمیٹلی ذمہ دار لیگلی ہوتا ہے بہت ساری چیزوں کا. تو یہ وہ جذبہ تھا کہ جس کے تحت میں پہلے بھی پریس کانفرنس کر چکا ہوں. فوراً سیلاب کے بعد میں نے پورے NWFP کا، پنجاب کا اور سندھ کا دورہ کیا تھا اور آپ کو آ کے بتایا تھا.
بسم الله. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Yes, my particular angle is as head of international programs. So my responsibility covers our development programs, our emergency programs, things like orphans, etc. So it's quite a wide remit. I started my job only last January. And in fact, one of the first major decisions I made was to support these applications that we received from Pakistan, our field office in Pakistan. So my job really was to approve these applications, to build these shelters, to propose them to our trustees. And of course, the budget we have for the shelters is around 2 million. And in fact, our first allocation was 1.2 million. So I was having to put my name very quickly to rather a lot of funding, a significant amount of program. But having read through the proposals from our field office, I was very happy to do that. I thought the proposals were well researched, well prepared, and we secured the funding very quickly from our trustees because they realised that there was an importance of moving quickly to start construction. So of course, after the approval, For me, the most important thing was to visit Pakistan and to visit our field office and to go and see the shelter and to see for myself, to sort of vindicate the fact that I felt it was an important project, important to support it. And the long and short of it is I was extremely pleased with what I saw. I was actually deeply impressed with the work of our local staff who had worked tirelessly in village areas to make this a reality. I was deeply impressed with the level of cooperation with the local communities. And I think most of all, and I think Brother Wasti probably touched on this, and I'm sure he shares this opinion, most of all I was particularly pleased with the quality of the structure. And I made it my business to visit quite a few other charities, NGOs, to visit their shelter programs. And by and large they were good, no doubt they were very good. But I genuinely felt that the sort of quality of construction, the level of cooperation with the beneficiaries, the level of involvement from our beneficiaries was very substantial. Now, as I said, I was very impressed with the construction. I think there was nothing wrong with what I saw in terms of other charities. Very good, mashallah. But I have to say that there was particular attention to detail to ensure that the beneficiaries were happy with the construction, that they were involved at each stage. And also very reassuring was the level of involvement. Very often the people constructing the shelters were the beneficiaries themselves. So that's, again, local employment, local skills, a sense of ownership, which I thought was done at a very impressive level. The thing also that we have to remember is the construction of shelter in some areas is a massive challenge, not only because the floods were devastating, and in many areas we were able to see the watermark. If people had managed to visit these areas, you could see that the watermark was often maybe a foot above your own head. These were marks on the sides of buildings to show the highest level of the flood. This was often 7 or 8 feet, showing the devastation of the floodwater. But the thing for me was the way that the local communities, agencies like Muslim Aid have responded to the challenges. So if I can give you one example of the challenge, which is land ownership. Now, land ownership is an issue because very often people live on rented land. Their previous homes were built on land that they'd rented as farmers, etc. Now, if we are to construct shelters, one of the biggest challenges is to look into the issue of land ownership. Does that person own the land? Is it rented? Now, there were examples of some charities at the very beginning sort of rushing in very quickly, constructing homes on land that in fact did not belong to the beneficiaries, and then the landowner then took the land back, sometimes demolished the houses. So we realised very quickly that this was a big challenge, and it's something that we worked around very, very carefully with the local authorities, with the beneficiaries. So, for example, one of the ways that was really impressive, one of the ways that this particular problem was solved, was local people from the community stepping forward to say, I will donate my land. I will donate my land. This is not an issue now. I want to resolve this issue once and for all. And in the village of Thatta in Sindh, it's right in the coastal area, one local landowner, one villager really, he was a very simple man. He actually came to us, and very, very humble, very simple person. He donated 10 acres, which is an incredible donation. So amidst all the challenges and problems which may put some people off, that may prove to be too much of a challenge for some, was actually negotiated very kind of sort of professionally by Muslim Aid, so that we were able to ensure that every single house we built was on land that was no longer going to be an issue for future reference. So I felt very confident these were built to last, these were of extremely good quality, and I'm sure that if I were to return there in 20, 30, 40 years' time, that they would still be occupied by those families. So for me, that was the overriding impression, that in spite of the massive challenges, there was an awful lot of goodwill, a lot of generosity in a very difficult situation, and an incredible level of cooperation between Muslim Aid and local beneficiaries. So I'm sure that will continue for the rest of the construction as well. Thank you.